Okay, so in today's video, we're going to be ranking a bunch of design softwares, S being the top, D being like the worst of the worst. This is like absolutely avoid, don't go near it, don't touch it, leave it the hell alone. Yeah. Now, before I do this, opinions, yeah? Opinions is the key word today. Opinions differ. All of this is my opinion, yeah? Opinions of GMB. You may not like what I have to say, so be it. But one thing I will ask of you guys is be kind to me, be kind to each other in the comment section. Don't go crazy. Let's be respectful. So without further ado, let's start. So the first one, Photoshop. This one right here goes into S tier. Need I say more? I don't think so, but for video sake, I will. Photoshop, not even just Photoshop, just Adobe in general, has been around for so long. This one right here is like the king when you're looking at, even just from a professional standpoint, anybody who's working in whatever industry, TV and film, sports, marketing, anything, right, that needs any sort of graphics, posters, etc., etc., Photoshop's always going to be the one. So for me, that's S tier. And then secondly, we have Adobe Illustrator. That is also going into S tier. Again, another Adobe product. Sorry, Adobe service that I would say again is just king at the top. There's similar softwares out there, but nothing comes near Adobe. So yeah, Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator for me, that's S tier. They have to be at the top. If you want to be at the top of your game as a creative, or if you're trying to get into the professional world of designing, you want to work for the big names, usually when they're looking at applications, they want to know that you've got some sort of education or knowledge within Photoshop, or not even just Photoshop, sorry, any sort of Adobe softwares, like respectively in whatever that field it is you're working in. Whether you're doing web designing, video editing, photo manipulation, they want to know that you have knowledge within the Adobe realm. So next is Kittle. For me personally, I like it quite a lot. Um, I would say it's quite like Canva in a sense where you've got your templates, but at the same time, you've also got like a bunch of inspiration. So it depends on who you are and how you want to create. This, I'd say, again, Kittle is like Canva, but a bit more grittier and edgier. So for people that are more into like poster designs and project, like passion projects, sorry, you're probably better off going with Kittle. But I have to be completely honest, as much as I like it, I'm going to have to slap it into B tier. I think that there can be more done in regards to improving it. Um, Especially like with like the free trial or like the free version of it, I should say. Canva's free version is a bit more flexible than Kittle's is, so I have to just put that out there. So that's why I'm putting that in B tier. For me, the next one here is Adobe Express. This one, I think I probably have to put it into C tier. Again, it's like Adobe's twist on Canva. Not so good if I'm being completely honest. Very generic templates, not much in terms of features. Even if you try to create a design off of scratch, it just, again, because there's not many features, you can't really do much. You're pretty limited. Um, so yeah, I probably have to leave that there in C tier. Or actually, you know what? I think I'm just gonna put it down to D tier to be fair, because any times I've ever really used it, I've never really had that good of an experience. I understand Adobe are trying to, go out of their way to cater to other people. They obviously see something like Canva or Kittle and think to themselves, we should probably do something like that too. But I think with Adobe, they're better off sticking to Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, and all those other softwares that they're, good at. So for me, Adobe Express, I did have it in C tier momentarily, but I'm gonna have to put it into D tier if I'm being completely honest. I don't rate it at all. The next one is Affinity. Now, this one might be a bit controversial, but for me, I'm putting this in A tier. And the reason I say that is when they announced their partnership with Canva, right, which was less than a year ago now, but time flies when you think about it. I don't think many people seem to understand, like, Affinity seem to be giving Adobe a run for their money. There are a lot of big name designers. There's a lot of people that I even know of personally who were very, very big on working on, like, Adobe softwares. But Affinity just came in and just like destroyed all of that. I can't be surprised if I hear that loads of Adobe customers ended up jumping ship because Affinity is amazing. And with this current Affinity as well, it's literally a combination of three different softwares. You've got something that's effectively just like Photoshop, something effectively just like Adobe Illustrator, then also something that's effectively the same as like Figma. So whatever niche of design you're going down, Affinity can kind of accommodate for all of it. It's very, very much like interface wise similar to Photoshop, and I think in future, if Adobe don't make a big move, then Affinity can give these lot a run for their money, because we're talking about a software that's effectively free and has near enough the same capabilities and services and features that Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, and so on and so forth have. So yeah, for me, I'm putting that in A tier. I like it a lot. Initially, I was a bit reluctant to use it because I was quite used to Adobe softwares, but for me, looking at it now, in retrospect, Affinity, like, game changer, massive, massive game changer. Again, Adobe, you may want to count your days, but we'll see what happens in future. Now, the next one would have to be Figma. For me, I'm gonna put this in S tier. Uh, Figma, for anybody who doesn't know, is more for people who are like web designers. So we're talking UX and UI, not even just web designers, even app developers as well. Like Figma, I think when I started out creatively, trying to understand what it is I wanted to do, I did dabble in like web design and I use Figma. I use some other softwares as well. But for me, Figma was probably the one when it comes to like designing websites and doing so on and so forth. It does take a while to learn. That is a massive disclaimer I'll put out there. But once you learn it, it's absolutely worth it. I've seen some designers who've created some amazing websites. They've created some amazing interfaces. They've been able to just go crazy, go ham, just kill it when it comes to Figma. So for me, it has to be an S tier. Anybody who's looking to create websites or wants to get into that realm of UX I would wholeheartedly just say stick to Figma. You don't really need to learn anything else. And then we've got Procreate here. For me, this is more of an illustrating thing, but I would say it probably goes in, I'd like to say B tier, to be fair. I know there's some other like illustrating apps and softwares. Procreate's usually just around on like tablets such as iPad. Um, but the reason I like it is because it isn't just about illustrating. You can also do other things as well, like motion graphics, logo design, so on and so forth. Um, I dabble in like illustrating. I just use it like as a hobby in my downtime, and I have to say like with Procreate compared to any other like illustrating software is up there. I'd say it's king. Like I was a big fan of Adobe Fresco, but I think for me it was just a bit too much. With Procreate, it's extremely simple. You know what you're doing. Not even you know what you're doing, but it doesn't take long to learn, and the features in there are just amazing. And I'd say it's more understandable, easier to use, and more accessible than Fresco. The only downside is you got to pay. Fresco is free, but with Procreate, I think it's only like £4.99. I think in other countries, like the US, for example, you're probably looking at like $5, so on and so forth. But worth it, definitely worth it. But I'd put that in B tier. The next one is Photopea. Um, for me, I'm putting that here in C tier. With Photopea, it's one of those things where, like, again, is very much similar in terms of like interface, very, very similar to Affinity and Photoshop. Um, I guess a plus side is that it's on a browser. You don't need to download it. It's not software you need to download. You can just Google search Photopea and then just work on it from there. It's also adaptable to multiple files such as PSDs and JPEGs and whatever. So it is kind of like a thing where you can use it on multiple platforms. But I think for me, I'm quite old school. I like to actually install, you know, softwares if I'm working and I'm on the go and I don't have an internet connection. It can be quite inconvenient, and I'm somebody who's always on the go quite a lot. So for me, if I haven't got internet connection and I have a project on Photopea, I have to wait until I get Wi-Fi. So for me, I kind of just have to leave it there. I guess again, like I said, the plus side is, it's got very much like a Photoshop interface, but other than that, it's not really that special. Again, you can create some amazing work with it, but again, like I said, just not that special. Next is GIMP. Again, maybe controversial, but I'm slapping this in D. I don't even need to think twice about this. For me, this, where do I even start? How much time does everybody have? This is probably for me the slowest, the most jankiest, the most outdated software for design. For as long as I've known about this and for as long as I've even used it myself, interface has never really changed. It takes ages for things to happen, takes ages for things to load. You want to add an effect to an image. Other softwares, you can have a couple of seconds. With GIMP, I kid you not, I would wait ages. I could wait 1 to 2 minutes just for me to, apply an effect to a particular image or whatever it was that I was doing. It was just always slow. And I'm somebody where when I'm in my flow of working, I like to move with speed. If I know exactly what I want to do, I want it to be done. You could say maybe that's like bad on my part, but for me, like, the patience that you need to have for GIMP is just insane. I think if they were able to kind of put a bit more effort into it, maybe change up the interface, give it like give it a revamp, give it a facelift, actually show that they care, then maybe I'd go back to using it. Again, you can create great designs on it, but it's just a matter of patience, really. Like, and I don't know if anybody else experienced this too, but my laptop overheated like crazy when I use GIMP. Any other softwares, like all these other softwares we've named, it was fine, but with GIMP, forget about it. I'm putting that in D tier. Personally, I would not even entertain the idea of trying to understand it. Like, interface wise, it is very similar to Photoshop. You do need to take a bit of time to actually kind of learn it though. It can be quite complicated. But again, like I said, with the whole timing thing and it being outdated and waiting ages and etc. For me personally, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Like, I know I spoke earlier about Photopea and saying how badly that works, but I would say you're better off even using that. So yeah, GIMP, yeah, D tier, forget it. Next one is Inkscape. I'm gonna put that in C. Now with Inkscape, the reason why I put that over GIMP is quicker, more reliable. Again, all these softwares, I know I keep saying this, but all these softwares you can make great work. You can create great stuff. With Inkscape, I'd say it's more complicated. It needs time for you to learn because it's nothing like these other softwares. It's nothing like Photoshop or Illustrator or whatever. It's its own thing. It's quite unique, which is good and bad. But again, it's just a thing of, you know, with like the interface and just the tools and whatnot. For me, I just never came around to really like understanding it. It was always difficult for me to just come around to like really properly using it or trying to apply myself to using it. So for me, Inkscape C tier. And then finally, the last one is Canva. Now with this, I'm pretty torn, I'll be honest with you. I'm thinking A tier, but then I'm also thinking B tier. And I think for me, I'm just gonna have to leave it down here in B tier. I think that's what I'm just gonna have to do. And the reason I say that is because, like I said earlier about Kittle and Canva are very, very similar. Canva, I would say, even template wise, you're looking more towards stuff like marketing and branding and so on and so forth. It's not as edgy as Kittle is. This is more like, I'd say, squeaky clean and refined in regards to like the work you can create. I've created amazing work on both. I've created amazing work on Kittle and Canva. I like both softwares, but I don't think I could put one over the other. So I think they both have to be in B tier. But the features that Canva has, the things that it's capable of doing, I'd say it's really, really good. Obviously, Canva has its partnership with Affinity. So if you ever have a project that you're working on Affinity, you can always open it in Canva and vice versa. So I'd say that's a very good perk to have. Um, but yeah, for me, Canva just has to be in B tier. I think a lot of the stuff there is like DIY stuff, like do it yourself. And I think the thing about that can be pretty frustrating is that, especially if you're a creative who's trying to like monetize your skills, you're always going to have a bunch of people who say, oh, well, I don't really need to pay for your work when I can do it on Canva for free. You know, a lot of these templates, like what a lot of people don't know, if you're not a creative, I'll tell you this for free. This is not a secret. If you've created something on Canva and you've just used a wacky template, 99 times out of 100, we know. It's not hard to tell. It's not hard to tell at all. The amount of social media pages and business pages and whatever, right, that I've seen who will use the exact same logo templates for, off of Canva, or the exact same social media graphics off of Canva. Like, it's not hard to tell. It's really not hard to tell. But yeah, Canva, B tier. Now, with all of that being said, again, like I said before, disclaimer, like, this is merely my opinion. Some may agree, some may not agree. It is what it is. Just be respectful in the comments, whether it's towards me or towards others. But yeah, that's it. So Photoshop, AI, and Figma in S tier, Affinity in A tier, B tier is Kittle, Procreate, and Canva, C tier is Photopea and Inkscape, D tier Adobe Express and GIMP. Now I've got a couple more videos coming very, very soon. I'm going to be taking a deep dive into certain styles of design. I don't want to speak too much, but videos will be coming soon. But yeah, you guys have a blessed day, and I'll catch you in the next one.